There are a whole bunch of logos that kick off Ratchet and Clank on the big screen, and one of the most important ones is Vancouver's own Rainmaker, which is where Ratchet and Clank was created. That's where all the CGI animation was actually done for this movie, and a lot of this stuff actually ended up in the Ratchet and Clank game that Insomniac has just released for the PlayStation 4. I found it interesting, though, in this just this phalanx of different logos and names that popped up before the movie actually rolled, that Insomniac games didn't really come to the top of that list. They are embedded in the credits, but obviously this is based on Insomniac's long-running video game franchise. This is under the PlayStation Originals movie division now, so I guess we're going to be seeing more of these. I think Sly Cooper is next on deck. Did they do a good job? Yeah, they did. They brought the Ratchet and Clank vibe in a big way to the big screen. Certainly, it was a great move casting the original voice actors of Ratchet and Clank to be in this big screen film. I do feel like they get pushed to the side a little bit as we stretch out the story to get to know more of these Galactic Rangers headed by Captain Quark, who is also played by Jim Ward, who has also been in the Ratchet and Clank games. Very funny guy. He's the bravado guy with the big chin. That stuff was fine, but I did feel like I didn't really want to know too much more about these extra Galactic Rangers that were just cast to put some big names on the big screen. Now, I think it was a great move on the part of the producers to bring back James Arnold Taylor, who plays Ratchet, and David Kaye, who plays Clank, but they are joined on screen by some big Hollywood names like Paul Giamatti, who plays Chairman Drek.
Initiate phase 1. Let's scatter the cockroaches.
You've got Sylvester Stallone kind of playing himself. I mean, he doesn't really play too many characters that have lots of range, this guy.
I'm coming for you, D-Bag!
So whenever he's on screen as this giant menacing robot in his Rocky voice, it kind of takes you out of the experience. And I didn't really feel like they needed to cast Bella Thorne or John Goodman, you know, but I guess in their efforts to sell this movie and to get this out to people that don't know what Ratchet and Clank is all about, or the charm of these characters that has endured across many iterations of their video game franchise, they wanted to kind of beef it up and throw in all of this Hollywood flash and sizzle. And I think it just made it a sort of a noisier movie than it needed to be, because at the core of this is this really cool friendship between Ratchet and his robot buddy Clank, and they do present that in a pretty honest and fun way, which is also exemplified in the video game. I almost wish that they had gone deeper in that relationship. I certainly felt like we needed more Clank in this experience. Clank, I think, is one of the coolest characters, not just a sidekick, but a great character in all of video games. And I've always had a fondness for him, and I feel like we needed to see more of Clank's story in this. He's made in this movie. His origin story is presented here, but it would have been cool to see a little bit more of his, you know, his motivations for wanting to be a Galactic Ranger and to help these guys and to save the world. We don't really get that. It's all kind of just coated over very quickly. It's definitely an interstellar tale. We definitely see lots of memorable sequences across a lot of different planets, just like we do in the game. You definitely get an arsenal of cool weapons in here. The Sheepinator is used. There are lots of allusions and lots of tips of the hat to the video game franchise. It's fun. It's not as funny as I wanted it to be, quite frankly. I think that you know, there were sequels in the Ratchet and Clank video games that got even funnier than this big screen movie, and it's certainly not the best looking CGI that you can find out there right now. You can tell that budget is definitely not as high as something like Zootopia. But it is a gorgeous movie, and I did like all of the details on the suits and the weapons, environments, and the spaceships and all that stuff. It's a cool looking flick. There is some fun action, there is some great character stuff, and some great comedy chops in there as well. And I think at its core, this is a movie that really honors the source, and I think PlayStation fans and Ratchet and Clank fans are going to be very happy. So I encourage all of you to rush out and go buy tickets to go and see this thing so that we get more movies like Ratchet and Clank. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Hey, thanks for checking out that video on our EPN channel. It's just one small part of the things that we make around here. So if you liked it, don't forget to check out some of our other vids and hit that subscribe button.